It's pirate time. Yer.
Hello, dreamers and nightmares. So I'm back. I'm sorry I stayed away for so long, but it was quite a busy week, and the worst part of it was that I had some allergy issues. So allergy issues kind of prevent me from wearing makeup and stuff. So I didn't want to come live and be a mess. So that's basically what happened. So tonight is going to be a different kind of live. I'm not going to talk about what I normally do. Means I'm not going to write anything, and we're not going to switch to the writing modes. What we're going to do tonight is talk a little bit about a movie that I liked a lot. And I liked this movie, which is Birds of Prey, as you can see. Mostly because Harley Quinn, obviously. Harley Quinn is probably one of the most loved and most appreciated characters of the Marvel Universe. Now, first of all, I want to make a parenthesis before I start talking about this. I'm not a Marvel fan. I do not read Marvel comics. I'm not into comics and manga in general, so I don't read that kind of thing. It's not that I don't appreciate it. I can see it's art, obviously, and I can appreciate the difficulty in making it and the whole story and stuff. It's just not my thing. It's something that does not resonate with me. I have an issue with waste of time, so to speak. Sometimes I don't even read Roman novels because I feel like enjoying myself is a waste of time. So that's one of my personal mistakes. So maybe I should get into reading some comics at some point, but I haven't up to now. That's basically what it is about. And I'm also not an expert in matters of movies, obviously, because I didn't study movie stuff, and I have a friend who's into that kind of stuff. He knows a lot of things. He has a blog and stuff, and he goes into that kind of detail. I haven't learned a thing, so I'm not going to claim that I did. But there is something that I really rock at, and that's analyzing people and analyzing characters, mostly analyzing characters. So this live is mostly about me analyzing the character Harley Quinn and her endeavors through Birds of Prey, based not on the character itself taken from the comics, as I was saying, but rather taken from Suicide Squad. So the storyline that I have of Harley Quinn comes from Suicide Squad and spreads through Birds of Prey. So that's a very limited review that I have, a very limited amount of information I have about the character. Obviously, I read stuff, but what I want to do is try to see through what is shown about the character through those movies and not through the entire story of the character. There's a lot of things that can be said, sorry. There's a lot of things that can be said already just watching those two movies. And I find Harley Quinn to be a particularly interesting character. Another thing that I would like to say is that tonight I'm particularly excited. I'm more excited than I am anxious, actually. Yeah, doing lives on Twitch kind of makes me anxious because it's like introducing myself anew into a platform that doesn't know me at all when I'm used to YouTube. And I said it already that Twitch kind of makes me nervous. But tonight I'm feeling a lot different. And I'm feeling different exactly because I'm doing something new for me. And I am feeling the exact same way I was feeling the day I started writing White Mist. White Mist, for those who don't know, is my first book of my first trilogy. So, yeah, tonight I feel a little bit like I felt that today when I started writing White Mist and I first put my hands on the keyboard. It's like I finally took the courage to share my insight about something without feeling compelled to be an expert about the background topic, like movies and DC universe and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to be thirsty very a lot. I have a dry throat. I've been teased for that, and that's cute. Actually, I like it. So yeah, the first thing that I want to say about Harley, I'm not going to talk about the other characters because they are very complex and they're presented through Harley, so it's not easy to analyze them. But it's possible that something comes out too about them. Maybe through a comparison or something. It's a movie that I watched a bunch of times already. I basically know Suicide Squad by heart, and I watched Birds of Prey 3 or 4 times already. Anyway, the first thing to say about Harley Quinn is that the character, the well-known character that has a whole bigger story, a really big, much bigger story than just 2 movies, that character there is one of the most loved by women across the world, girls across the world, and it's one of those characters in which a lot of women identify. The first thing that I'm going to say about that is that I hope that there's a misunderstanding in identifying with her. I am one of those people that have reason to identify with her, and obviously also these other women do, because otherwise they wouldn't identify with her. But there's one particular about Harley that is not very, how do I say it? It's not something to go proud of. And that's exactly what makes Harley Quinn, what turns Harleen Quinzel into Harley Quinn. She gets manipulated by a sociopath. She is a praised psychiatrist. This is shown in Suicide Squad too, so I'm allowed to know this. So she is a praised psychiatrist, and she is very good at her job. She's very dedicated to her job, and she spends a lot of time working. And when she meets the Joker, she falls in love with him and with his view of the world. And that's when the whole honeymoon phase starts with her sociopathic love, and she gets manipulated by the sociopath. Now, this is a very, very important thing to say about any kind of character. That means that Harley, despite being a very strong woman, despite having a degree, a very high degree, she's a psychiatrist and stuff, PhD, despite having a PhD, despite all the story that she has behind her, all the experience that she has with criminals in the Arkham Asylum, despite all of that, she still falls in the trap of a sociopath. What's the point? The point is that sociopaths do not feel. So she is fully aware that this person is not going to love her. Still, she's so looking for love that she falls in the trap of his charm. I'm going to call it charm, because that kind of person can be extremely charming. So she falls in the trap of the Prince Charming, and that's actually something that, as a person that has been manipulated by a narcissist in the past and who has learned to recognize the signs, I know how it is something not to go proud of. I mean, it's not a fault, it's just a vulnerability that a person has in a specific moment of her life that can be overcome, obviously. But what makes Harley Quinn is actually a vulnerability. Being vulnerable to alpha males, as she's described by some characters at the beginning of Birds of Prey, and being vulnerable to the charms of a specific kind of man. Now, psychopaths and sociopaths, if we want to call them that, even though it's not the technical description, because it would be antisocial personality disorder, That kind of person there can be of two types. One is made and one is born. So we're not talking about the born kind, we're talking about the made kind, because the Joker became. So we're talking about what normally is defined sociopath. And sociopaths do have a range of feelings, obviously. They do feel a range of feelings, but they do not let in positive feelings. So antisocial personality disorder means you're having to do with someone that has very, very diluted positive feelings. Let's call it that. So that's Harley. That's what turns Harleen Quinzel, the psychiatrist, into Harley Quinn, the character that we know in the DC comics. Obviously, she falls into the radioactive stuff and she becomes different from what she was before and stuff like that. I like a lot the way that they put it in Suicide Squad, because she throws herself into that, and she repeats it in Birds of Prey. She throws herself there to please the Joker, to show him how much she cares and how much she wants that relationship. And that's also something really interesting. How far are you willing to go for a specific kind of thing? And Harley is inclined to go very far when it comes to go miles, actually, when it comes to feelings, to someone she has feelings for, or to proving her love. She's prone to big leaps in matters of proving her love for someone. And that's something that I also consider very interesting about Harley, but it's not very crucial. It's not crucial when it comes to her development through Birds of Prey. What I found really interesting through Birds of Prey was that she starts in one way and she ends in another. So we have a Harley Quinn that starts with describing her personal story. So she talks about herself. She tells us that she grew up feeling kicked away, feeling abandoned, basically. Her father didn't want her. He pushed her away. She was sent to the nuns to grow, where she was school and stuff. And then she grew without a family, basically. So she lacks a family. And we see a part of that also in Suicide Squad. That's also very, very well described in Suicide Squad when she's at the end of the whole thing and she realizes that she would want to have a family with the Joker. So what she's looking for is basically love. So Harley Quinn's most core issue is that she's looking for love. I thought for a very long time that she might have what's it called again? One of these social disorders, the one that is the histrionic personality disorder. But she does not, and it's shown very well through Birds of Prey, and we're going to see that. She does not have a histrionic personality disorder, or at least that's what it looks like through Birds of Prey. It rather looks like a Folie à Deux case, meaning that the Joker was pulling her into his aura, and she was crazy paired to him. So Folie à Deux means that a certain kind of madness happens with two people believing the same thing and doing the same things because of that, and going through a kind of madness. And the sociopath can pull the victim into the Folie à Deux kind of thing. And what is trying to be shown in Birds of Prey, I believe, is a case of Folie à Deux, rather than Harley actually being histrionic, which makes sense because she does not display characteristics of histrionic personality disorder when she is Harleen Quinzel. So before turning into Harley Quinn, she defines herself not the regular, very good behavior kind of girl. She's not a good pupil or anything. That's what she says about herself. But at the same time, she still goes to college, does all the things that are necessary, study, get the PhD, and become a psychiatrist, get involved into job, and start working her job. That's what she describes in the first scenes when there's the cartoonistic part of Birds of Prey. When she breaks up with the Joker, or better, when the Joker kicks her out and breaks up with her, her reaction also does not speak about histrionic personality disorder. It rather talks about a girl that has been dumped and is reacting to that in a kind of pyrotechnic way, maybe. Talking before. Attention spoilers, I should write it down that there's going to be spoilers through this thing. Anyway, in the first part, when we're still in the cartoonistic part of the movie, the very introduction and the first scene when she's kicked out, the reaction that she describes is a kind of pyrotechnic reaction of a normal girl that has been dumped. And it's nothing different from what we normally see in movies when girls get dumped. Like girls sitting there with their ice cream, she's spraying cheese stuff in her mouth. She's throwing knives at the Joker. She feeds a man to a hyena. Normal stuff, you know. That's actually a very important detail, in my opinion. The fact that she gets a hyena and that she feeds the guy to the hyena, because she's still in the Joker's aura. It's not like having a relationship ends what we've been through that relationships immediately once the relationship is over. Some strings are going to be attached, some things are going to keep going, especially the identity matter. Harley says through the first part that she had lost her sense of self. She had lost her identity. She didn't know who she was anymore. That's another thing I can relate with. Past stuff. Anyway, and that also means it's not histrionic personality disorder. It would rather be borderline, but there's no sign of borderline in Harley, actually. Anyway, she says that when she met the Joker, she fell head over feet and she lost her sense of self. That's something that actually makes a lot of sense in someone that is so bound to love and so in need of love, that has abandonment issues, someone that broken in an emotional sense. It makes sense that they lose who they are to enter the relationship. And this is actually a specific kind of reaction. Some people would react wanting to be special. Some other would react wanting to merge into the other person that they see as being particularly strong. So they view that strength, they probably would want that strength, and they try to merge with that strength so that they do not see this person go away, which means they're going to be, like Harley, basically doormats. So she becomes basically the Joker's doormat. In the two movies where I've seen Harley, meaning Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, we're not dealing with someone that says no a lot. Harley seems to have such a relationship with the Joker where the Joker basically makes all the rules and Harley never says one single no. That's how their relationship seems to develop through the Suicide Squad specifically. So that's very interesting. That's very interesting because it's a very special kind of temperament that we have there. And it's also, I would like to point out, it's also a very, very good kind of victim. A person that never says no can be abused in any possible way. That's basically the point. A person that has issues with saying no can be abused in any possible way. At the same time, you could say that in Birds of Prey, and through Birds of Prey and through Suicide Squad, you see her say no. Well, that's probably because being unable to say no to a partner is very different to being unable to say no to a crowd or to a boss at work or to oneself. A person that is able to annihilate themselves in a relationship is probably the best person ever telling a no to themselves and to other people, but not to the partner. And that's what Harley Quinn is displayed as. She is a very vulnerable woman that falls in the trap of the Prince Charming side of a sociopath, and who becomes basically his Harlequin. And that's a very important word that we will keep in mind because she speaks about that herself through Birds of Prey. The hyena thing struck me because the hyena part struck me because the hyena is paired with a beaver. So we have a hyena in the tub and a beaver with a ballerina suit. So why did this strike me? I'm a lot into symbolism, and I love symbolism, especially in movies, and in movies like these, like fantasy stuff. The comparison, the fact that there's this hyena and the beaver together tells me that there's symbolism going on there. And I'm not sure if the director actually meant to use this kind of symbolism or if it was accidental, but I doubt that that was accidental, actually. The beaver makes me think that it's not accidental. So on one side we have a hyena, which is basically her party side, I would call it. It's the two sides of Harley's personality: the sweet, kind-looking, fastidious, fluffy exterior, the beaver, and her crazier, most deranged side, which is partially connected to the Joker. She gets the hyena at the very beginning of the movie, and then when people chase her, the hyena goes lost, and the hyena only comes back at the end of the movie. Spoiler! Anyway, the hyena only comes back at the end of the movie. That's very interesting, because her harsher part gets to come back only after she's done her path of growth through the entire movie. So that's really interesting. The crazy sides of her get mixed into her personality once she has found herself back and she has created her startup and her, what she calls her startup, as a mercenary in Gotham. That's why the hyena thing struck me so much, because the hyena is a very specific kind of personality that really mirrors the Joker's personality. And through that part of the movie, when we're still at the very beginning, she's still in the aura of the Joker, to the point that she's still wearing the necklace with the J. Oh, Zire IGG, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much, really appreciate it. Welcome, and if you want to say hi, I will appreciate. How's it going? So, yeah, back to what I was saying. You seen what I put there. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there. That scene, I love that scene. So we were saying that Harley is that the hyena represents the Joker, and that she's still. Hello, Julian Brandt. Welcome. Hi. Nice to meet you. Now I'm doing a little bit of analysis, my personal view of Birds of Prey. I'm not claiming being an expert of anything or anything. It's just my taste and what I liked and what I didn't. I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine, thank you. How about you? How are you? So, I was talking about the hyena that she gets at the beginning, and I was saying that the hyena mirrors a lot what the Joker represents. Hyenas are known for laughing. I don't know how it's called in English, the exact word, because I'm Italian native speaker. Anyway, the hyena thing really, really recalls this thing about laughing, and the Joker is known for laughing a lot. Now I'm worried about, because I have watched some Batman movies. I'm not a Batman fan, which is the weirdest part of me. I'm glad that it goes great for you. So one of the weirdest part of me is that I'm in love with the Joker and Harley Quinn. I do not like the Batman movies. So, that I also like the Scarecrow, actually. But yeah, my interest is more in the villain side of the thing, side of the coin, when it comes to specifically Harley and the Joker, and that's why I appreciated Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey so much, especially for the focus on Harley Quinn. She's a very, very interesting character to analyze. So the hyena thing, the hyena gets lost, we said, when she starts the chase to herself. So we're going back to the little thingy that appeared when Zirel Gigi followed, and which is going to come back every time someone follows. And that's actually the most interesting part, or actually what struck my attention the most in the movie. She needs closure. At some point, she decides that if she wants to keep going with her life, and if she doesn't want to fall in the arms of the Joker again in case he comes back, she needs closure. So this expression, needing closure, is something that has appeared a lot in my life. In a specific time of my life, I heard about that a lot. And needing closure is something that for someone like Harley Quinn that has difficulties saying no in a relationship, or that I think has difficulties saying no in a relationship, closure in the relationship is actually an extremely important step. So that passage there is kind of confused, in my opinion. It struck me a lot because of it. A lot of things happen simultaneously, psychologically speaking. On one side, she's hurt. I didn't watch Birds of Prey yet. I hated Suicide Squad so much that I'm afraid to watch Birds of Prey. Or if you didn't like Suicide Squad, you probably won't like the other either, because it's an interpretation. What I know is that a lot of people did not like Suicide Squad because of the interpretation of the director of the characters, which is exactly what I loved. So I would not recommend it if you didn't like it. If you didn't like Suicide Squad, because it's about the Harley Quinn that you see in Suicide Squad. That's what it is about, basically. And a bunch of girls that I never heard about. So the Huntress, the Montoya, the cop, and the other one is Black Canary. So who read the comics probably knows about those characters. I did not. And so that's basically what it is about. You get... it continues from Suicide Squad. So back to what I was saying... Okay, maybe hearing what I have to say about it will give you a different perspective, and you'll see it from a different perspective. Not that it has to change your taste about it, but hearing different perspectives sometimes changes our view of the world. So Now, the explosion scene. She decides that she needs closure. And like I said, this is a very psychologically intense scene that she decides to do that. She needs closure. So if you hear noises, it's the apartment above. They're kind of noisy sometimes, so I'm sorry about that. Can't do anything about it. I will have to endure for another little while. I'm changing home soon, but I don't have a connection in my new home yet, so I'm waiting a little bit before I move. So it's because Italy is in lockdown, and I have to wait for my uncle to come and fix the whole internet connection thing. In the meanwhile, I will have to stay here and wait. I'm just moving 100 meters. It's not far away anyway. But it's more silent because there's nobody around me, and eventually it's just dogs howling, which is also friendly. Anyway, back to the explosion things. Psychologically speaking, like I was trying to say, it's a very intense scene. It is intense because Harley in that scene is deciding to say the final no. She never said a no before. She was always ready, waiting for the Joker to come back, and we've seen that in Suicide Squad. She was always hoping for the Joker to come back for her. She was always forgiving of the Joker for leaving her behind. But this time, Harley says a big, huge, fat no. And she does that by making their place explode. So basically, she blows up the place where they met, that we have seen in Suicide Squad already, where she has thrown herself in the tub of stuff, their radioactive stuff, and she decides to do that. It is psychologically intense because of the big fat no that she's saying to the Joker and giving a stop to their relationship once and for all, at least from her perspective. And it is also intense because she does not foresee what could come next. And that's what Montoya says in the scene afterwards. Harley just opened the hunt to herself, and it was not an intelligent move. Harley does not see that coming. Why is that? We're talking about a psychiatrist, the character that is described to be probably the most dangerous of all Batman villains. I read that a lot online, that she's considered very dangerous because she's manipulative, she's a psychiatrist, she knows how to enter people's mind, but she does not see the hunt to her coming. Why? That does not make sense at a first glance, but it actually does make sense with the character and with the way she's described through Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey specifically. She considers herself a nobody. She annihilates herself in the relationship. Like I said before, she does not say no to the Joker. The Joker can do to her whatever the hell he wants. She's never going to say a single no. She merges with the Joker. She becomes a part of the Joker. As she says herself in the little cartoonistic part before the movie, when the movie begins, in the introduction, she is the mind behind some of the best stunts of the Joker. Yet the Joker never says that to anyone and never praises her for that. That's another side of not saying no. Someone has assertive, someone that doesn't annihilate themselves in the relationship would say, "Hey, dude, that was my idea." She does not. She does not do that. That's because mediators have a strong ability to enter a person's mind. So she is basically a mediator kind of person. She has the ability to enter a person's mind and even to become that person. So in some way she becomes part of the Joker by annihilating herself. And once she does that, she oversees the fact that everything that she has done herself to people is reckoned as her own deed. That's something that she does not see. Since she was part of the Joker through that phase, since she was doing stuff with the Joker, for the Joker, and her mind was wrapped around the Joker, she does not see that everything that she has done has consequences and that people noticed her. And she also says that there's a scene in which she's talking with Black Canary, and she tells Black Canary exactly that. She says, we are harlequins. Do you know what a harlequin is? An harlequin is someone that works for someone, is a servant. Nobody gives a damn who we are. They only see the person we're serving. That's what she thinks. That's what she thinks is going on. She thinks she's nobody. She thinks that nobody sees her. She thinks that nobody ever noticed her. She doesn't realize that people actually are fully aware of her existence, presence, and actions. So that's why she blows up the ACE Central without second thoughts, because in her mind it's not likely that anyone would go after her, because everything that was done in that time was Joker related. So if she's closing with the Joker, if that's closure with the Joker, for her it's wiping the slate, wiping it clean, wiping everything clean, and moving on to a next phase. So she's basically telling to people, I'm not with the Joker anymore, so I don't want to be that kind of person. That's why that scene is so psychologically intense, because it contains a lot of Harlequin's traits. And that actually struck me a lot. Also, for the anger that she displays, not towards the Joker though. When she throws away the necklace, she's not saying no to her love for the Joker. She's not denying that she loved him. She's not saying, I never wanted to be there. She admits everything. She accepts everything that she's done. And she says, it's over. Now this is going to end. I'm not coming back to you. Which is also interesting, because on the other side we have a sociopath. And like I said at the beginning, sociopaths are not very emotionally attached individuals. So when you're dealing with someone that is not particularly emotionally attached, it takes wondering, would the Joker actually come back again for her? Or was that the end of the game for him? Would he still have protected her? Because not saying that she had broken up with the Joker, not making it public, felt to her like she still was in the protection of the Joker. And actually that protection extended to her in that nobody would harm her until they know for a fact that it is actually over with the Joker. So the Joker does not care anymore about her. Problem, question mark. The Joker never actually cared about Harley. If he cared, he's not a sociopath. If he's a sociopath, he didn't care. So that's an interesting point. Would the Joker have come back for her at all? She says that it's over for good. Does she say that because she's afraid he's not coming back? Is she closing because she fears that that's actually the end of it once and for all, and she wants it to be over for her before she realizing that it's actually over? Why is she reacting that way? Because we're not dealing with someone, how do I say it? We're not having to do with a person that doesn't know what she's been dealing with. Despite falling in the trap and annihilating herself for the relationships, she still knows who she's been working on when she was a psychiatrist. She still has her psychiatrist knowledge. She still knows that the Joker is a sociopath. So what I wonder is, maybe in that scene, she's not just needing closure for herself to keep moving, But maybe there's more. Maybe she's afraid he's not coming back. And the fear that he's not coming back can be excruciating. The fact that she doesn't tell, that until she doesn't tell anyone that she's broken up with the Joker, or actually the Joker has broken up with her, is telling. And the fact that she's still having immunity through that time is also telling. Because the Joker had done nothing to private them, to take away from her that protection that he's actually giving her, that has been given her for that long time. So he's not giving that up. He's not saying that he's not with her anymore. He's not spreading news that they broke up. So he's still playing a game. So would he come back? Would he not come back? Is the game being there without being there? Is he trying to make her take a decision? What kind of game is the Joker playing there? I was actually hoping that at some point the Joker would jump out of the blue and tell his part, because I was really curious to know what the hell was going on through the Joker's mind through the whole movie. But obviously it was about her and her story, and she was moving on, so there was no sign of the Joker through the whole movie. And but I'm still expecting a third movie, another movie coming out. That would be interesting, where actually the Joker says hi with the hand. It would be likely. She had just restarted, so she has started anew. She has a new life, a new everything, and that's a good point for a sociopath to come back into a person's life. That would be perfect. It all depends what the directors are trying to deliver with this kind of story and with all this thing. But that would be interesting to see the Joker come back and do his thing and say something about the whole matter. That would be really interesting. Anyway, Harley develops, the character Harley Quinn develops through the movie. The Harley Quinn that we see towards the end is not the Harley Quinn that we're seeing at the beginning. So maybe that closure thing works for her. I am going to consider it her way to take a distance before he does. So the fear that he's not coming back for good and that he truly isn't coming back makes her react that way. It makes her want to protect herself from the pain of loss by saying goodbye before the goodbye comes from the other side. Now you might say, well, he kicked her out, basically throwing her literally on the road, and he took everything away from her, and he's not showing up ever, so he said a big fat no, and not her. And that's true. But in a person's mind, for someone that has been left behind, like in Suicide Squad, when when the Joker runs away, that proves how much he cares. The Joker runs away and lets Batman catch Harley Quinn, who ends up in a jail, in a prison. And that's why we have her in Suicide Squad. So she is used to the Joker letting her go, turning his back on her, and going away, and then coming back unexpected for who knows what reason. There must be something in Harley that he wants. Sorry. So like I said, there must be something that the Joker wants, that Harley has, or that he finds interesting in Harley. And it might be that thing that she says about her being the mind behind one of his best stunts. That could be the thing that makes the Joker come back to her every time. It's sure not a love interest. it's sure not a love interest. It can't be a love interest that makes the Joker come back if we take him as a sociopath as is described through both movies. So, like, what I was trying to say is that in her mind, the end is not a real end. It's temporary, or it is potentially temporary. Because she cannot know if the Joker maybe found another way or lost interest in her stunts or lost interest in her mind tricks. And if he has, he's not going to come back. She feels that it is the end for good. But does she feel it because she's afraid it is, or does she feel it because she's aware it could be? It's both things, in my opinion. I think that's how she feels. Being a psychiatrist and knowing how sociopaths work, she knows that at some point he's going to kick her in the ass once and for good. He's going to say it's over forever. And when that happens, she has to be ready. Because if she's not ready, she's going to suffer. And she's afraid of abandonment. She has abandonment issues. On the other hand, there's the fear of abandonment by itself. So she fears that this might be that time. So the fear makes her need a closure. That's what I think happens in the scene in which she blows up the ACE thingy central. And that's very, very intense. That's very intense. Then she starts moving on. She starts moving on by getting the hyena we were talking about. And the hyena part is actually quite interesting because she finds a new love. So she substitutes a sociopath with a hyena. And she feeds the hyena, the guy that harasses her, basically. So we still have a very crazy side to this kind of bonbon, caramel, cotton candy kind of thing that is Harley Quinn through the movie. So we have this clash between a cotton candy kind of person and this feeding the guy to the animal. To an extent, I thought it was a mistake at the beginning. The first time that I watched it, I considered it some kind of some sort of a mistake, so to speak, of the director. And then I realized that it's not very common that directors actually do that kind of mistake. And when I'm talking about a mistake, I'm meaning that they probably wanted to show that she's still crazy, and by trying to show that she's still crazy, sorry, I'm doing a mess. I want to do something here. By displaying that she's still she feeds the guy to the hyena, he is the director, he or she is showing that she's still crazy, that she's a crazy character, that she's a villain. So I kind of saw it as an attempt to display Harley Quinn as a villain, when, as a matter of fact, it shows very well through the movie that she's actually an anti-hero. So I'm wondering because she's not a villain. She's obviously, in Birds of Prey, she's obviously not a villain. She's an anti-hero. And the fact that she's an anti-hero, attention spoiler, is shown in that she decides not to cut the girl's belly to get the diamond. She actually tries to save the girl. So that's what makes her an anti-hero. She's not doing an heroic act. She's not doing that because it's right to save the girl. She's doing that because it's not necessary to kill her to save her butt. So she is basically going after the girl to save her own ass. And she decides that it's not necessary to harm the girl to achieve her goal. That's what is going on. So, yeah, basically that's what's happening there. And I was thinking about that part where she's feeding the guy to the hyena, because I think that was actually no mistake at all, and it was no attempt to make her look like a villain. It's actually an attempt to create a contrast between what she was until she was in the aura of the Joker and what she actually becomes at the end of the movie when she claims herself back and she gets out of the Joker's aura, slowly growing through the movie. And yeah, so that's I'm thinking. You see me, I'm thinking. I'm thinking because that's actually quite interesting passage, because she goes basically from criminal killer to mercenary, and that's what she defines herself. In the little card thingy there, how do you write mercenary? I love that part. That was cute. And so yeah, so basically we're looking at a person that is looking for herself, starting from a very extreme kind of situation and moving on to a different kind of situation. Now, I would go back to the part where she thinks that she doesn't realize that she would be chased, and she's opening the hunt to herself. But I will in a moment, because I need to take a small break, and I will be right back. So just give me a second. And I'm back. So, it was just a second that I needed. So, we were going to talk about the fact that she doesn't take into account. I'm not used to having this thing is in front of my face. Anyway, we were going to talk about the fact that she's not taking into account that she has opened the hunt to herself. That part is interesting also because when she starts realizing how many people hold a grudge against her, she is reacting in an unexpected way, let's say so. She kind of takes it as normality. So if she thought of herself as the harlequin of the Joker, so the servant that nobody sees and nobody cares about and nobody remembers, and she thought she was just another one of the Joker's guys, basically, how is it possible that she's not reacting to being hated by everyone, or to realizing that she's actually hated by everyone and a lot of people want her dead? That's another thing that could look like a contradiction, but is actually not. It's part of it. She was one of the bad guys. So it's normal that the bad guys are hated. That's all. That's all false. She does not consider the hatred towards herself as something directed to her specifically because of what she does, even though she lists all the things that she's done to these people. There is that's not displayed very well actually, because they make it look like she's actually aware that this thing is happening to her because of who she is and what she's done. But it doesn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense with the entire character. Her reaction is more like... sorry. Just give me a second. I need to figure out what the hell is going on here. Tutto bene là in fondo? Okay. Sorry. My cat. I have to keep an eye on my cat always. So, I was saying that her thinking that people hold a grudge against her because of who she is and because of her as a person does not make sense with the character itself. But it does make sense that she considers it normal that people hold a grudge against her for being one of the Joker's guys and for doing those things. So she still considers herself nobody, but since she has found that closure, she starts seeing herself as an individual. So she knows what she's done and she's aware of everything she's done. And she knows, she realizes that it makes a sense that people hold a grudge against her. And that people hate her to the point of wanting her dead. And we see this nuance is visible only in a very tiny small interaction that she has with a character in the hidden alley when she gets out after running away. She meets this guy that has the Joker face painted, tattooed on his face because of the cosmetic vandalism she and the Joker did on him. And she said, well, I didn't do that to you. It was him. And the guy answers, yes, but you pushed him to do that. So it's your fault that he did that. And she tries to object to that, but her objection is, I think Margot Robbins is great in these things, by the way. She did a great interpretation. And her answer to that, her reaction, yes, but I push a lot of people to do a lot of things, and so on. That's kind of her making her brain work around the idea that she's just been presented. Like, so you were aware that I was there. He did that to you, but you saw that it was me doing that. And we have that feeling even more when she goes in the apartment with the little girl. And the little girl, whose name I don't remember now, Cassandra Cain. When Cassandra says... the first thing that happens is actually when they are in the prison, so it's a very long thing. They are in the prison, and Cassandra tells her, you are the crazy... from the rollerblade things, from the roller thingy. And she realizes that the girl recognized her from there. Then there is another point when they get into the apartment, when they arrive in Harley's apartment, that the girl does not recognize the Joker. So that's basically when Harley has her first epiphany about being a person. She realizes in that exact moment that some people see her for who she is, that they realize her existence, and that some people, a lot of those people that are actually angry with her, are angry with her because of who she is and because they noticed her existence. And that she actually exists. So that's kind of interesting how Harley reacts to that, because she says, I know it looks like I was going soft, but spending time with the girl was actually fun. She liked it. And she likes it because the girl is actually the first person that treats Harley as someone important because of something she has done by herself that had nothing to do with the Joker. So racing as a rollerblade thingy, I don't remember the name now of that thing. Anyway, she was doing that thing with the rollerblades, and the girl recognizes her from there. That thing has nothing to do with the Joker. So it's basically the first time after breaking up with the Joker that Harley is seen as someone because of something she has done, because of one of her choices that was independent from her life before. So that's basically when the renewal actually starts. That's when Harley starts reworking on her personality and actually starts to find her new dimension. And we see that in the internal fight that she has with herself. And now we're quickly going to the end of the movie now. We're moving faster. We see that when she is betrayed and backstabbed by Doc. Big spoiler here. The girl and Harley are found because Doc sells her. And that's actually a very sad point, a very sad part in which she realizes that not only everybody hates her, but the very person that she thought cared about her did not actually care enough to protect her. So she is on her own, and she is alone against the world. And what she does in that moment is fear for herself. She feels completely abandoned. I actually can hear her heart break, and another thing why I consider Margot Robbie so good at acting. In the very moment when she realizes that Doc has betrayed her, I can hear her heart break. And that's because she had done nothing to Doc. Doc had no reason to betray her. He had no reason to sell her. He had no reason to do anything to her. And he did regardless. And when she's asking for explanation, she gets the answer, it's just business, Lotus Flower. So she becomes just business. So it's the story of her life. It's what has always been for her. Her father threw her out. He didn't want her. She tried to go back to him. He pushed her away. She goes to the orphanage thingy with the nuns, and then she gets out, and we know the whole story that has been told at the beginning. And that's another epiphany moment for Harley. She is on her own, and she has to rely solely on herself. So that's one of the reasons why I loved this movie so much, because it gets to show how hard it is to make that realization, to recognize that you are on your own and decide how to act next, what to do next. And obviously she goes for, okay, so if I am just business, then everybody's just business, I'm going to sell the girl. And that's what she tries to do. But then when she realizes that the girl actually liked her because of who she was, and that both her and the girl are on the same boat, she changes her mind. She changes her mind because at that point she's ready to allow someone in her life without fearing that this person is going to go away. That's a very difficult passage, psychologically speaking. So she has to leave the experience of being on the other side of the barrier, so doing to the girl the same thing that has been done to her for so long, to realize that she doesn't want to be that way and that she does not want to be alone. So not to be alone, you have to allow people in your life and allow the possibility of abandonment to happen. That's a very, very strong passage. It's a very, very intense passage, and it's very interesting how Margot Robbins tries to stress those moments that are not so apparent. I don't think that it's so clear when that happens. And there's all this small epiphanies that she has through the movie. It's a very well displayed path of personal growth. And as a matter of fact, when she has that moment in which she realizes that she does not want to be alone, and that not to be alone she has to allow people in her life, is the exact moment in which she becomes the anti-hero, Harley Quinn. That's when she becomes the anti-hero. Because in that moment she takes her weapons, so to speak, and she fights against the enemy with a renewed force. This is not just about Cassandra Cain. The villain, Sionis, is not there just for Cassandra Cain. They're all in the same boat. So let's jump on the boat together and let's see where this boat leads us. That's what she does when she has her renewed view of the world. And yeah, I'm thinking about weapons. Because another thing that displays Harley as not your regular villain but rather an anti-hero is beforehand when she's fighting to save the girl and run out of the prison. So save the girl and save herself. That's the passage where we first see that she's not actually a villain but rather an anti-hero. And she has in front of her on a table a chainsaw and some other stuff. I think I saw a gun too, but I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff on this table. What does she get? She grabs the metal baseball bat. So between the chainsaw and the baseball bat, she picks the baseball bat. And that was the moment in which I realized that through the entire fight in the police station, no single drop of blood was to be seen. So at first I thought this was going in the direction of the new trends of not showing blood in movies, of not making bullshit. That's not it. Because there's a lot of hints to blood, and if I recall correctly, there's also blood gushing in Suicide Squad. Anyway, there's no rejection of blood in Suicide Squad, but there is no blood gushing actually through the whole attack to the police station. She goes through the police station, but she just numbs people. She just numbs the policeman. She does not actually kill anyone. She goes through it without killing until it is strictly necessary. She kills only when the guy has the girl on his shoulder and he's taking her away, and the only way to free the girl without harming her would be using violence, using a right out killing. That's the only moment in which we have a blood gushing. And I don't remember if we see blood, but that's not very important. The point is that she does not spill a drop of blood through the whole scene. And once again, between the chainsaw and the bat, she picks the bat. She uses her abilities, her athletic abilities, to get herself out of the situation. She fights with her body, but she does not fight with extreme violence. And that's also interesting about her. And it shows her, it displays her as an anti-hero as opposed to Black Canary, who wants to be an anti-hero but is actually a hero. And Black Canary uses her superpower only when the she uses her superpower only when the cop makes it clear to her, makes it apparent to her that that's the only way to get out of there. So she uses that power to save them all and to save the child. That's what a hero would do. That's a hero temperament. She fights for the girl. She betrays Sionis to save the girl. She sends to Montoya the details of where they're going to be to save the girl. The focus of Black Canary is completely revolved towards saving someone, saving the girl, saving others. That's a hero personality. In the same team, we have the Huntress. The Huntress, on the other hand, is the renegade. We have a girl who's seen her family killed, who's seeking revenge. So through the whole first part of the movie, while she's just a mere shadow that is being introduced, she looks like a villain, but she's actually the the kind of person that brings justice out of justice. She's basically like the Batman. She's a renegade. She's not an anti-hero. She's not a hero. She's something different, something that in the American culture is actually extremely important and that we see also in Western movies. Hello, 3210 bot, welcome, and thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. So, yeah, this is basically what happened. I lost track of my thoughts for a moment, so sorry for a second. I'm going to drink and then I'm going to keep going. Yeah, I'm back. I know what I need to say. So I was making a comparison among the different characters. So I was saying that the Huntress is basically the renegade kind of personality, and the renegade is very important because it is a very important kind of personality and character in American culture. We see the renegade in a lot of Western movies. It's that person that is there, does the thing, saves the situation in an unlawful way, and then goes away because they cannot exist within a law system, a legal system, like the Batman, basically. So the Huntress is a kind of Batman personality without making the Batman appear. She's seeking revenge differently from the Batman, though she does get her revenge. So she's very similar to Spider-Man also, who's seeking revenge at the very beginning. So yeah, I know a little bit of the DC universe, not enough to talk about it profusely, but like I said, I like these two movies specifically a lot, and character analysis is something I'm very good at. So yeah, we have Montoya, the policeman that realizes that the system is corrupt and wants out of the system. We have the hero that works outside of the system, but that follows the legal justice, the regular justice, and that works with the mind of a hero. So I would say that Black Canary is a Black Panther kind of hero, basically. Then we have the Renegade, which is the Huntress, and the anti-hero, which is Harley Quinn. And fun fact, Harley Quinn steals, spoiler alert, Fun fact: Harley steals Black Canary's car at the end, and that thing is hilarious because it's like a big birdie to the to the hero, like hey hero, I'm not gonna follow your path, sorry, I'm gonna go my way. And she steals her car and runs away, but still she's not a villain. She gives the code back to the huntress, the code that is hidden in the diamond. She gives it to the huntress, and she keeps the diamond for herself. So she gets the price of the diamond, and the huntress gets all her family money back through the code that is in the diamond. So again, anti-hero personality. She has to have a personal gain. That's not an anti-hero thing in general. Sheldon Cooper is also an anti-hero kind of character. He's fearful. He doesn't know how to handle people. He's very harsh. He says things he shouldn't say. That's also an anti-hero personality. But he's not the kind of person that looks at personal gain and stuff like that. So anti-heroes are all different from each other. If you take Catwoman, that's another anti-hero, and it has a very different personality from Harley Quinn, for example. So yeah, still Harley is very focused on personal gain. There's a lot of personal gain going on, and I think that part there where there's the personal gain going on has a lot to do with her abandonment thing. So she was afraid, basically. No, step back. I'm thinking about when they arrive in the cave where she used to be with the Joker, and she thinks that all the weapons are going to be still there, like it was in every other breakup. And when she opens the locker, there's no weapons there, so he has taken everything away. And this time she doesn't want that to happen. So if everyone is on their own, I want my part. That's basically her reaction. And that's also an anti-hero thing, an anti-hero kind of personality trait. A hero would not look at that. A hero would go for the greater good for everyone. So the anti-hero personality is very common recently. It's gaining a lot of space in fantasy because of The Witcher. The Witcher is also an anti-hero, and it actually all started, so to speak, in cinema with Woody Allen. The first greatest anti-hero is Woody Allen's character. That's the first that has been recognized as such, at least. So I read. So if I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong, and I will be happy to update my sources. So yeah. Anyway, what is true is that Woody Allen's character is an anti-hero. Back to Harley. What can we say about Harley? Harley grows through the movie, like I said. She starts with being on her own and feeling abandoned and fearing loss and separation. She fears that the Joker is not going to come back, so she needs closure once and for all because she needs to move on. She moves on, she realizes that her person actually has an impact on the world, but she's not fully aware of it. Moving on, she realizes that people actually realize that she exists, and that's because the girl tells her. She makes choices that are not typical of a villain. She chooses the lighter path, the path that doesn't require anyone to die, or so she hopes at least. That's what she tries to achieve. But we still have a sparkle of that desire to find love with someone strong, with a strong personality. When she's being kidnapped by Sionis, when she's sitting in front of Sionis and she's trying to manipulate him into hiring her as a bounty huntress. he slaps her in the face, and she has this flash that I loved, in which she's dressed in pink, and the song by Marilyn Monroe starts, "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend," and that's beautiful because in a very very hinted but not so hinted way, she's dancing with Sionis. So her mind is presenting her with the possibility of substituting the Joker with Sionis. So making the change, and entering a relationship with Sionis instead of the Joker. There's a split moment there in which she's falling in that trap again. But then when he slaps her again, she says something. She said, "I always thought that it's a girl that should receive diamonds and not vice versa." So she realizes that she's falling in the trap, and she avoids that. So 5022156222 Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. I highly appreciate. So I'm rambling about Birds of Prey because I actually really loved it, and I'm trying to analyze parts of it because I really consider the character, the Harley Quinn, really interesting, and the way she's displayed in the two movies, Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, struck my attention. And when my attention is struck by something, I can go 1 hour 26 minutes talking about it non-stop. So I thought maybe I share it with others. So I'm not a movie expert. I have no clue about movie stuff, and I won't claim that I know about that thing. But I know how to analyze a character, and that's what I'm doing. So I was saying that she has this moment in which she's falling in the trap, but then when he slaps her again, she realizes that she's falling in the trap again, and that she's starting to crush on Sionis for being a strong personality, and she realizes that that's not her solution, that she has to find her way out and find a new life, start anew. So it's really interesting that after the experience with the Joker, she realizes that, because like I said at the beginning, I had experience with narcissists. And once you've seen the trick the first time, once you've seen through the trick the first time, it's much easier to see it coming the second and third time. So there are actually extremely attractive sides to a deranged kind of relationship with someone with some disorder of some sort, that it is narcissistic personality disorder, that it is antisocial personality disorder. There's an extremely attractive side to it, and the extremely attractive side is that these people not having feelings or not having real feelings can give you so much, because they don't feel the need to pull back or to keep something to themselves, because there's nothing that they're actually truly giving. So they can make you touch the moon with a finger in 0 time. And that's why women fall in that kind of trap. So Sionis, in this specific case, looks at Harley and promises her the moon. He tells her, "I can protect you. You're nobody without someone protecting you. I am the person that can take care of you. I can protect you." But he does, from an unhealthy perspective, either that or I kill you. So there's no actual help from him towards her. There's no actual support. There's rather the reaction of someone, the actions of someone that is manipulating a victim. Harley is, like I said at the beginning, the perfect wannabe victim. She is the perfect wannabe victim because she has this vulnerability to abandonment. She fears abandonment. She fears being alone, and therefore she needs someone, she feels like she needs someone to protect her. But the moment in which Sionis enacts his trick and starts promising her stuff, she realizes that the promise is empty. I always thought that a girl should receive diamonds and not vice versa. That's how she tells it to herself. She realizes that she's putting herself back in the same position in which she was when she was with the Joker. She was actually going to give something to have nothing in return, basically. Her life. That's a lot, obviously. But how can you rely on someone? How can you trust someone to actually protect you when they are there and they're about to skin you? What tells you that at the end of the game, when you're coming back with their diamond, they're not going to kill you? That's a very, very important passage, and there's a point about that. Human beings live based on something called trust. You go home to your parents, you eat supper, and you trust them not to poison you while giving you supper. That's because we use social trust. That's something human beings use. This comes from my studies from the university that I had to quit, unluckily. Anyway, we live according to social trust. And this social trust is what makes us trust that others will behave a specific way. So we trust that if a car stops before we cross the zebra crossing, they're not going to restart to run us over. We trust that when we are passing with a car, we're driving and we pass a stop, the person that has to stop the car coming will stop at the stop. That's social trust. So in order to fall in the trap of a sociopath, a narcissist, or a psychopath, you need to use social trust. But social trust cannot be applied to deranged personality, to someone that has an antisocial personality disorder or a narcissistic personality disorder, because they do not use that kind of behavior. Their behavior is completely detached from anything socially approved. They do not care about social norms, so they do not care about what is socially expected. They know what is socially expected. They play on it. They can even behave according to it. A lot of people with antisocial personality disorder have normal lives with a significant other that gives them something that they want, obviously, that will never actually resort to criminal behavior. Some even do not have a diagnosis. But at the same time, that's not necessarily given that that's what they're going to do for the rest of their lives. There is no guarantee that they're going to keep going on that line. And that's an awareness that Harley Quinn has from her psychiatric studies. She's a psychiatrist. She knows what she's dealing with. She knows who's in front of her. She knows that on the other side there's someone that could only want the diamond from her. And if that person does not want anything else from her but the diamond, she cannot trust that this person will protect her. So that's the moment in which she detaches from her. She doesn't fall in the trap. That's why she does not fall in the trap. Because she wants something real. She has realized when she made the ACE Central blow up, she had realized already that she wanted the real thing. She wanted something real, something true. And that's why she doesn't fall in the trap of Sionis. And she never truly trusts Sionis. I read somewhere that another character she seems to crush on is the Batman. And that actually makes a lot of sense to me, because the Batman is The renegade personality. She also shows some sort of attraction, so to speak, to the huntress in that sense. So the renegade is actually the safer version. It's the version of someone that is not bound to the legal system, but at the same time has a moral code. So the difference between the Joker and the Batman is no moral code versus one not debatable moral code that does not follow necessarily the law. This is the difference between the two, the renegade versus the antisocial personality disorder personality. And Harley has the instruments and the knowledge, the awareness, and the experience to recognize the difference between the two. So I actually find really funny that scene when the huntress arrives with the motorbike. Spoiler alert. The huntress arrives with the motorbike. She raises the thingy, and Harley looks at her like, oh my savior. Margot Robbins makes an expression that looks like she's seeing God or something. And that's because of the strong personality in the huntress. And Harley is attracted to strong personalities, obviously. And she sees, in that moment, it's like she's having an epiphany of what she actually wants. And the fact that the hyena comes back at the end is probably also connected to that. The craziest parts of her personality can come back at the end because she has learned how to handle them and how to use them. She's become a mercenary, a bounty huntress. She's become something outside of the aura of the Joker. She has her own startup. She has become feared by people. She has started her new life and everything. So she can get her crazy sides back. And at the same time, the hyena's name is Bruce. And Bruce, we know, is the Batman. So, yeah. So that's also probably part of it, part of the symbolism. She realizes that she actually wants someone more like the Batman than like the Joker. And there again, I would want to see the Joker come back at this point. That's exactly the point in which I would want the Joker to actually come back and see what happens. At the point that we see Harley arrive at the end of the movie, I think that she would not fall back in the trap. But it's the Joker. We're not talking about a new fellow, a new person. It's someone for whom she has already fallen, and for whom she probably still has feelings. So going back to the Joker or not going back to the Joker is a matter of what she actually wants and how aware she is of what she wants. So if she's fully aware that she wants someone like a renegade, that is a renegade and not a criminal, then she's probably going to say a big fat no. If she's not fully aware of that, then she could fall back in the trap of the Joker. That's a possibility. And if my analysis is correct, there's not going to be a Joker coming back, the Joker coming back. There's not going to be anything like that. Because she has actually grown into herself and into her own persona, her own thing. Just give me a second. So, sorry. So I don't think we're going to have the Joker come back. And I think that's some sort of a realization, epiphany kind of thing that she was starting to have already in Suicide Squad when the villain there, the sorceress, shows her a little anti-stress thingy. Slimy. Anyway, so yeah, in Suicide Squad, in the scene when the sorceress, the enchantress, I don't know the name of the character, I don't remember, when the villain there shows her what she wants and tells her that she can give it to her, and she sees herself living a regular normal life with the Joker. That's when she starts realizing that the crazy life she's living with him is not what she actually wants. That's a starting point. Uh, but there's also, she's not ready. In that moment, she's not ready to fully embrace that. She's not ready to fully embrace that because she thinks that the Joker is dead. So she's leaving a very strong loss feeling. And she probably can tell herself, she's probably telling herself in that moment that she's not. She doesn't want a normal life with the Joker, but she just wants the Joker back. And the reason why she gets out of the enchantment, of the charm of the enchantress, is likely the awareness that or the thought that she has that the Joker does not exist anymore. She thinks that the Joker is dead. So when the Joker actually comes back and saves her and from the prison and takes her back, she falls in the trap again because her loss was not real. So she's been through the loss once already through Suicide Squad. She has seen what she truly desires in Suicide Squad when she thinks she's lost him once and for all. And that's when she starts realizing that the relationship she has with him is not what makes her happy. I think that's the point, and that's what makes the continuum between Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. The fact that she analyzes her relationship with the Joker through Suicide Squad, and we see the honeymoon phase when she falls in love with him, that when she throws herself in the radioactive stuff, and when their love begins. So we see the honeymoon phase, and we see the traps of being with someone that doesn't have feelings. When she gets arrested by Batman, and when she ends up in jail because the Batman catches her, and the Joker turns his back on her. Then we start Birds of Prey with her telling us that this thing of the Joker leaving her and taking her back had been going on for a while already. So he had already left her other times. It was something normal that the Joker sent her away and took her back and sent her away and took her back. That was something normal. Something she had already experienced. And in the dream, in the magic shown to her by the enchantress, she sees that that's not what she wants. So slowly, I think the awareness starts to sink in. And when the Joker leaves her again, she says this is the last time. This is the last time. She doesn't know if he's going to come back. She's afraid he's not coming back. She's aware that him coming back is not what she wants. This is another thing, another piece of the puzzle to add. And that's the reason why I think that they decided not to make the Joker appear again through the movie. Again, though, I'm not entirely persuaded about that choice, and I'm not entirely persuaded that this is over, because if they want to display the kind of Joker that they have made Jared Leto to be, or that Jared Leto gave us, and I really hope they're going to keep going with that, and they're giving us that Joker. If they want to give us that, they're going to have to make the Joker come back into Harley Quinn's life in some way. Probably not winning, but it should make an appearance at least. And That's that would be interesting because Jared Leto's Joker is another character I could go on talking for a very long time, and it only lasts a few moments in Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad. He's just an appearance. He's there for a few seconds, for a few moments. So we see very little of him. But what I can tell you is that Jared Leto's Joker is is a continuum from the Joker from Batman Arkham Asylum. I think the game. I think that's the name of the game. There's one game in which there's a very big, very long monologue by the Joker where he explains his view of the world. And he's basically making it look like his kind of justice. So it's a very interesting passage. I have very big difficulties tracking it down every time I look for it, and I happened to see it because one of my exes was playing that game, and he called my attention to that because I thought that I would like it, and I actually did. I found it very interesting. And Jared Leto's character actually is a continuum from that passage, from that long monologue. And it's interesting how he makes the Joker look a lot different from the Joker we were used to in the movies. And it's possible that he's very different from the comics too, because my friend is angry at me, so to speak, because I like Jared Leto's Joker. But I like him because he is a sociopath. He is a sociopath. Jared Leto's character is sociopathic. Whereas, looking at... okay, I'm a big Heath Ledger fan. I find that guy a genius in his realm. I think he was a genius. But at the same time, I don't fully appreciate his Joker because it's full of feelings. He shows a lot of anger. He shows a lot of pain more than anger. And if the anger part is something that I can see attached to a sociopath, I do not see the pain part. That's something too much, something that is too Heath Ledger-y to my taste. Heath Ledger was a very tormented personality. His pain was visible in his eyes in the interviews. He was suffering greatly emotionally for a great sensitivity of his. He was a very sensitive personality. And that shows too much in his Joker, I think. He's throwing too much of himself in the Joker. And that's why I do not appreciate him. I do not appreciate that specific Joker and that specific thing that is that interpretation of his. I expect the Joker to be crazier, more angry, insane, like Jared Leto's. But again, I have never read the comics. I have been told plenty of times that Heath Ledger's Joker is close to the character that has been created originally, and that he's truer to the original character. So I'm not going to claim that my interpretation is the purest. I'm probably being an erratic here, and probably a lot of people will want to burn me on a pyre for this. But I think that Jared Leto Joker is closer to what the antisocial personality disorder actually looks like than Heath Ledger's. And again, I'm a big Heath Ledger fan. And I loved his Casanova, for example. I loved a lot of his characters. He was a great actor. But if he succeeded in becoming the character in a lot of cases, he failed with the Joker, in my opinion. He failed with the Joker. But then again, it's not like I can pay a lot of attention to everything that happens in the Batman movies because I do not like the Batman. I do not like the Batman. I love Harley Quinn and the Joker. I do not like the Batman.
I'm sorry. I was afraid of the Batman when I was a child, actually. I was terrified of the Batman. There was this inflatable Batman that I had been presented with, and every time I entered my room and the little inflated Batman was standing at the back of the room, I started screaming, like, Mama, this wants to kill me! And yeah, that was me and how much I knew about the Batman as a child. So Batman is my boogeyman in childhood, basically. So it's hard for me to appreciate the character as a grown up. Plus, I don't particularly appreciate renegades, so I'm learning to appreciate them now. So yeah. Anyway, back to Harley. I think I made a quite in-depth analysis of the character through the story, and I don't think I left anything back actually. Um, Her relationship to the Joker and with the Joker would be very interesting to analyze, and it would be interesting to go through her character in Suicide Squad. But it has been a long time since I've last seen that, so I don't know how in depth I can go about it. What I can say is that, like I said before, it's a very, very debated relationship in that specific movie. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on there. She thinks about love a lot. She thinks about what she wants. And again, when she's viewing herself dancing, Diamonds are a girl's best friend, she's falling again in the trap. She probably wants to fall in that trap. I know the feeling. I know that feeling damn well. The feeling of wanting to fall into the trap of into the net of someone with an antisocial personality disorder. I know how it feels, how strong and how bad the desire to be manipulated is. Because once again, what they can give is so much more than a normal person can give, than anyone else can give. It's really undescribable what the ability they have to make you touch the moon with a finger, to make you feel like you're the most desirable, most interesting, most valuable person on earth. But at the same time, they have the opposite ability. They can make you feel like you're the shittiest, worst, least interesting, most despicable person on earth. So if on one side it is obviously desirable and it is easy to fall in their net, on the other side, someone that is aware of what that sky represents will not fall in the trap. That's something that is actually has a sad component to it. It's like being aware that absolute happiness cannot happen, while actually that's not absolute happiness. There is no happiness in perfection. There is nothing that can give you true happiness and is perfect. Personally, for my experience, and also looking at the experience of the character's experience, looking at Harley Quinn, it is very unlikely to find happiness in what the eye or the mind perceives as perfect. What is this perfection? What is that everybody wants and that everybody tries to attain more than anything? What is it that Harley actually wants? Being accepted for who she is, knowing that not anything she will do will not be judged. That's the key to any human being's heart, basically. Not being judged, not feeling judged, knowing that they're not going to be judged. And being judgmental is something that a lot of people share, and but what we mostly share as individuals is the fear to be judged. So anytime that we enter a relationship with someone that we know has a moral code, we fear clashing with that moral code, and we end up, or a lot of us, those who are weaker actually, tend to mold themselves into whatever the other person's moral code represents. They try to fit into that drawing, into that thing, because they need not to be judged, because they need to feel accepted. And the acceptance that a sociopath or a psychopath or someone with an anti-social personality disorder can give you is has no equals. Someone that has absolutely no moral code whatsoever, someone that does not give a damn about morality, that has no morality whatsoever, and that doesn't have an understanding of morality other than how to use it for their purposes, will never judge you. Someone like that cannot be judgmental in any possible way. So that's what makes it so attractive. Another thing that makes it so attractive. And I'm thinking actually of Jared Leto's Joker, when he looks at her and he tells her, "Would you leave for me?" That's what he asks her in Suicide Squad. "Would you leave for me?" And she said, "Yeah." She says, "Yes, I would." And the answer he gives is, "Shh, do not make promises that you're not sure you can hold." And that's actually kind of disturbing, because it's not much about survival as much, and living for another person as ethically speaking or morally speaking or whatever. The message that passes through that is also that she wants to live for him, to merge with him. She wants that. She wants that because that person is never going to judge her. Never, ever. Whatever she does, she has immunity. She can do whatever the hell she wants. She can kill. She can feed people to hyenas. She can jump on people's leg and break their legs. She can do whatever the hell she wants. Still, in the first scenes, she's barfing in someone's purse. She can have all the fun she wants. She can drink. She can do anything. She can be a good girl. She can be a bad girl. She can be a villain. She can be an anti-hero. It doesn't matter what she chooses. It doesn't matter. He's never going to judge that. He's never going to express judgment about that. He's not going to look down to her because she's gone soft. He's probably going to say that if he needs to hurt her for some reason or wants to hurt her to see the pain. But he's not truly feeling that. And it's something that in antisocial personality disorder, it is apparent. It shows that there is no feeling of that kind behind it. And not feeling judged is something that is really extremely attractive. So it's a matter of bargaining for Harley. Yes, I'm still talking about Harley. It's a matter of bargaining. What is she bargaining? She's basically bargaining safety and love for not being judged and feeling free. So she's choosing freedom and feeling protected, freedom and protection over love and true sharing. That's what she basically does, and that's a very interesting interesting choice that she makes there in the first movie in Suicide Squad. And it's automatic to wonder why she goes to such an extreme. Why does Harleen Quinzel choose such an extreme solution? She's been burned like a lot of people. She has had her experiences in love, she tells us at the beginning of Birds of Prey. But that's not actually enough. There has to be a huge vulnerability underneath. And more than anything, she herself has to have a weird sense or a deranged sense of morality. And that's why I was thinking histrionic personality disorder. But the histrionic personality disorder does not have the issue with morality. They do not have. They do behave in morally debatable ways when it comes to the sexual sphere, but it has nothing to do with Harley Quinn's behaviors actually. So I also thought about borderline personality, like I said, borderline personality disorder. But I don't think that's the case either. I think she's just a girl, a woman, with a strange, weird, and deranged morality. That's what I think she is. She has a she's very vulnerable, morally speaking. She can have her moral bent by someone else's moral. And she doesn't have a strong sense of morality herself. She does have a moral code of some sort. Like I said, she chooses to help the girl with means other than opening her belly with a knife to get out the diamond. That's basically having a moral code. And that's part of having a moral code. You choose what is least invasive rather than what is invasive. Another sign of her having a moral code is that she doesn't actually kill the policeman when she attacks the police station. There's no blood of any kind. There's glitter, there's paint, there's how are they called, the foggy thing is, color, the smoke, there's a lot of stuff, but no blood, no actual bullets shooting, if not the police bullets. She's not using bullets. And that's also another thing. She does not need to kill them. She only needs to numb them. So why kill them? Moral code. Deranged again, because you do not attack police station and then say you're morally right. So, but yeah. And yeah, so the immunity thing tells me that she chose the Joker and she tends to fall in that kind of trap because she chooses freedom. And now I'm seeing a parallel with Pirates of the Caribbean and Jack Sparrow, another anti-hero, when he says what the Blackbird represents is freedom. That's what the Joker represents to Harley. And when she learns to actually be free without the Joker, so be free in her eyes, to before herself, not judge herself. That's the most important thing to learn. She learns not to judge herself. And that's why she gets Bruce back, I think. Because at that point, she has figured out that she's not a hero. She has figured out that she's not a villain. She's figured out that she has her own morality, her own moral code, that she doesn't care much about morality, even though she does have a moral code. And at the same time, so she can be crazy again. She can have both the beaver and the hyena. And she can be happy without someone next to her that doesn't judge her. And I think that she is attracted to renegade personalities now, for the reason that I said before. that she gets Bruce back, and she makes big eyes when she sees the Huntress come rescue her. So actually come help her to rescue the girl. So yes, I think she has switched her choice to renegades. So still the deranged, weird, debatable moral code going on, but in a more justice oriented. So she is more inclined towards those who seek justice than towards those who. She's not harsh against the birds of prey. She says she considers them idiots, basically, because they're risking their lives for others, and when others don't care. And but she's not harsh against them. Actually, she's still in touch with them in some way. She's not one of them. But yeah, that Bruce thing coming back, that Bruce coming back thing makes me think that there could be some sort of a switch towards renegades, and I'd be curious to see a next movie and her story developing further from that perspective, as much as I would want to see a parallel to Birds of Prey, so the Joker's story after breaking up with Harley. That's something that I would consider very interesting, to see how the Joker handles Harley's behavior. Once again, obviously, he does not give a damn. And she's not doing the thing that normally makes people like the Joker spring. So she's not going fully against him. Blowing up the AC thing is nothing to the Joker. I don't think he cares or gives a fuck about that, actually. I don't think he cares at all about that. Because that's emotional attachment. That's something Harley is attached to. The place where their love started. Because once again, their love is Harley's love for the Joker, not vice versa. So it is extremely likely that that love that started there did not find resonance in or any reaction in the Joker. So the Joker sees her blow up that thing and he goes like, who cares? He could have some sort of logic reaction. Anger, maybe. Like, who do you think you are, rebelling to me? Something of that sort. Or, oh, you want to rebuild your life? Let me come back just right the moment when you are almost there, and let's see what happens. Let's see who is in power, who is in charge in your life. A challenge. That could be something. I can see Joker picking up the challenge when she gives the signal that she wants her life back. And she actually says the words, I want to be my own girl, my own woman. And that's something that the Joker couldn't understand as a sign of her wanting to be her own woman, to have her own life back. So yeah, I think I blabbered enough about this. 2 hours 9, and so I think I will close this here. I will close this live here, and I will probably come back very soon with some other movie that I watched and liked. And I hope you enjoyed what you've seen, that you enjoyed my analysis, that you understood why I loved Birds of Prey so much. Actually, at first I was a little bit disappointed because I was expecting Harley to be a villain. And when I saw she was not a villain, there was a lot of stuff lacking. And I realized that what was lacking there was actually the Joker's madness. So I was looking for the Joker's madness, and there was no Joker's madness, so I was a little bit disappointed. And so yeah. But then when I saw better, when I watched it again, and I realized that she's an anti-hero, and I saw the parallel with Catwoman, then I realized that it was actually a great movie for me. And once again, I would be curious to see the Joker's side of the coin. Anyway, this is everything I have about it. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here all this time. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the follows to all those who followed while I was offline in the past week. I will try to be live more often. I'm just at the beginning, so I'm taking time to make sure that I have content to bring in and not jump in without any content. I'm still creating my lives, so I hope you will be patient with me about that. And now, give me a moment because I want to see if there's someone online that we could raid. Let's see if there's some raidable someone. Always the same people. I'm going to raid someone only if I find someone that I consider worth raiding. And nope, not tonight. Not tonight. I don't want to go there because I went there the last time and there's too much people. I'm thinking, because Leon is online, Leon Kiro, I don't know if you know him, and we could raid him, but I think I will not for tonight. Maybe another time, because he's streaming Demon Souls and I don't know anything about that, so I would rather raid when I know what is going on. So not tonight. So tonight we're closing without hosting or raiding anyone, and I hope the next time we will have someone to host a raid. So this is let me get ready. This is everything I have for now. I hope you enjoyed the stream and I will see you soon. Bye.